Welcome back, everyone, to Excel. Today, the topic is unit conversions, and we've all done unit conversions in the past, whether they're feet to meters, inches to yards, whatever it may be. We've all done different types of unit conversions, and in Excel, we have a function to do this, and that function is called convert. Right? Unit conversions or convert something, right? When we do unit conversions, there are two types of conversions that we have. One is our simple conversions. Simple conversions essentially do only one type of conversion at a time. That's like if we're changing feet into meters or meters into kilometers, something like that. We can convert from our US customary units to SI units, or we can convert even within our units. We can go feet to yards, inches to feet, anything like that. The other type of conversion that we have are complex conversions. These do multiple units at one time. We may have something that we have, an example could be something that is feet per hour, right? How much are we traveling in feet per hour? Maybe we want to convert that for some reason to meters per second. So here we have two different units. We've got feet and meters and hours and seconds. So these are more what we call our complex conversions. We'll start out today though with our simple conversions first. So let's look at doing a simple conversion by hand first. And we know by definition that 1 foot equals 0.3048 meters. That's a given. You can look that up in your back of your book in the tables, and you will find that. You can look it up online. You will also find this conversion, right? That's 1 foot equals 0.3048. We can write that or rearrange that, right? We can divide both sides by 0.3048 and get 1 foot per 0.3048 meters, or we can do it the other way around and divide by 1 foot and have this conversion. These are called unit conversion factors, right? Unit conversion factors. And those equal 1. So if we multiply anything by this conversion factor, we're essentially multiplying by 1. It allows us to get rid of feet or meters in using these unit conversion factors. So you should be able to write both unit conversion factors, and one is just the reciprocal of the other. So let's take a look. If we have 6 feet and we want to know how many meters that is equal to, we know by, our definition went the wrong way, sorry there, from our unit conversions that we have 1 foot per 0.3048 meters, or 0.3048 meters per 1 foot equals 1, right? We have our unit conversion factors for that, for feet and meters. So if we look at this, we can take our 6 feet, and if we multiply it by this conversion factor here, we allow ourselves to get rid of the feet, right? We have our foot in the denominator, and we're converting to meters, right? So that allows us to convert that way. So if we look at that, those cross off again, and we end up with 0.189 meters. Okay, so that's a simple conversion, and that's how we would do it by hand. Excel, again, also allows us to do this, and we can do this using our convert function, right? The function convert. And we, again, start out with the equal sign. We type in the word convert, and we get this definition where it says convert is equal to, or convert, and our arguments are some number, and from some unit to some other unit. Okay. Or you can also select this f of x down here, or go to the insert and select f of x and type in convert, and we click OK at this point. And when we do that, we get this box here. Right? And now we can start typing in some value for our number, whether it's a cell or whatever we want. We can put in a cell or an actual value for the number itself. Maybe we pick a 3 or something like that. And then we have our from unit and to unit. Okay? And these are typically put in quotes for us. So we have our from unit. And if we look at this, this is also a way of looking at it. This is our conversion factor here, right? And if we look at it, this from unit is in the denominator, or the very first unit we have is always in the denominator. Always in the denominator. And our to unit is always in the numerator. Okay, so we need to remember that. That is very important to remember. So our to unit, or the second argument, or the last argument, is in the numerator. The second argument in here is in the denominator. The first argument, of course, is the number itself. Okay. Always on this, if you have problems with this, you can always click on help for this function, or come see me in my office hours, or send some message to me on the discussion board, or come talk about it in class sometime also. There are different units we can use, and if you see, all these units are put into quotes. So we have here, the first one is grams. Grams, slugs, pound mass, so on and so forth. These are all different units, and you can find all of these different units, oops, I went too far, sorry, from this help function. This help function section here will list all of these out also for you. So you will find all of these in there. And if you don't know, you can always start. I mean, it kind of makes sense. You would do feet as FT or inch IN, and usually it should work out. Okay. There are also prefixes that we can use. So for you doing meters, these aren't all of the ones. Oh yeah, here it is, meters. Up here, if we have kilometers or centimeters, we can use a K, or if it's centimeters, we have a C, or millimeters. These are our typical prefixes that we will use. Okay, megawatts or something like that. And those, again, are also placed within that double quotes. So we can do something like KM. Also, the other thing you need to know is that these are case sensitive, right? These prefixes, oops, I'm having problems today. They are case sensitive, so be very careful. So you see there's the capital M, or there's a lower m, right? So we need to be very careful on all of this because they are case sensitive. Okay. So let's look at you doing this in Excel, right? We have this 6 feet equals how many meters, right? We can use our convert function, and we say convert 6. This is our number, and we're going from and to. So if we think about it, we had 6 feet, and our conversion factor, we want the meters in the numerator and the feet in the denominator, right? The feet is the second part, right? This is our denominator right here, so that works out for us. This is correct. So that is our conversion factor, and the feet will cancel off then, and we end up with meters. We can write this. Let me delete some of that, erase some of that, so we can kind of see this a little better. There we go. And if we look at that, we have our convert function. We can type it in, and we get our result of 1.8288. We can also do it for 60,000 feet and see what it equals in kilometers, and notice the K in front, right? And it will give us a value here for kilometers. Before we get into complex conversions, let's take a look at doing simple conversions in Excel. Okay, here we are in Excel. This is how I would recommend doing these simple conversions. Again, you can type equals convert, and like I said, you can pick the cell that it's in, or you could hard code it in, but that's not usually the best way. You'll see it comes up with a list of different types of units. Again, we'll put quotes, and we want to go from feet to, and then comma. Notice once I did feet, all of the different types of length measurements come up, right? And I want to go from feet to meters. And I can't forget to do my close parentheses. And there's my meters. I'm going to do this one, though, using this function key, right? And I'm going to type convert, hit enter, there's the one I want. And it's telling me what number do I want. I want this cell right here. So it's putting it in there for me. And then it says my from, right? And I'm going from feet. So let's go back down here. From feet. If I don't remember, I can always click on the help topic. You may or may not see this. You should see it pretty well. Here's our whole list. Here's distance, right? Here's feet right in here. So that's good. So we know we want quote feet. Ooh. And I think I can even type just feet. Will it take it? It put it in for me as feet, right? And now I want kilometers. I think this will work. Let's try it. Yep, it actually adjusted and put the quotes in for me. Okay, so there's a real simple conversion. Let's look at some other simple conversions. Let's do this one going from Fahrenheit to Kelvin, right? So we can do equals, convert, and this file is in the classroom files online. So you should be able to get access to this file also. Here's our number, comma, and we're going to from Fahrenheit. It should be capital F, I would think. And it is, and there it gives us all the other ones, right? And here's our Kelvin that we want. Double click on that, and there we go. Converts it to Kelvin for us. Let's go gallons to tablespoons equals convert. Here's our number, and we're going from gallons. I'm not sure what it is, but let's try GAL. That looks like it works. And here's tablespoons for us. And I'll double click. And it converted tablespoons. Here's 1 pound force. All right, there's pound mass and pound force. If you haven't had physics yet, you might not know that, but there's a difference between pound force and pound mass. So that little subscript F means that it's pound force. We're going to pick our value here for our units, and we're going from, quote, LBF, pound force, to newtons. Newtons is the force in SI units. All right. And now we're going to do kilonewtons. Same thing, but we're going to do kilonewtons. Here's our number, comma, and we were going from LBF to kilonewtons. Small k, capital N. Enter. So there we go. There's our kilonewtons. Okay. Let's look one last thing. Let's look at unit conversion factors, right? Let's make our unit conversion factors. So here's 1 gallon is equal to how many tablespoons. So let's convert, and we're just because it's a unit conversion factor, I'm not even going to put that value in it, but I'm going to hard code it because it's a conversion factor. Here's our gallons, and here's tablespoons. So there's our conversion factor for that. Now here we're going to do equals convert. This is our other one, right? Our convert, and this time again it's still 1 because our conversion factors always equal 1. And this time we're going from tablespoons, TBS, oops, quote, TBS, to gallons. I don't see it listed. It might be down further. Oh, I did see it. So this is really just the reciprocal of the other. So we should be able to figure that out also, right? If I take this value here, oops, let's redo that. Take 1 divided by this value, right? And you'll see I get the same value, okay? Let's do these unit conversions, and then we'll go on to complex conversions. So these are just our unit conversion factors. So again, we're going pound force to newtons. Convert 1 from pound force to newtons. And there we go. And we can do the opposite one, right? Convert, or the reciprocal of it, 1. And we're going from newtons to pound force. So there you have it. There's our conversion factors, or unit conversion factors for simple things. Okay? Next, we're going to look at complex conversion factors. Okay, here we are again with simple complex conversion factors. And complex conversions are ones that have multiple units. So again, like feet per second to miles per minute, right? Or meters per minute, maybe. Maybe that's meters per minute, I think. All right. If we have something like that, how do we do that? In Excel, we can only use that convert function, can only do simple conversions. It only does 1 unit at a time, right? So it can only do 1 unit. So we must use essentially a series of simple conversions, right? And what we can do is we can use that convert function and use our unit conversion factors that we just did in Excel, right? Those unit conversion factors can be used to help us solve complex conversions. Remember again, here's our unit conversion factors that we just talked about and did. We did this in Excel with our first and second and third arguments. The biggest thing is to remember for a unit conversion always a value of 1. So in our convert function, we always make sure that our first number is 1. Always be careful with the second and third arguments. Remember, the second argument in here is the denominator, and the third argument is the numerator, right? So here is the unit for the denominator, and here's the unit for the numerator. So here are our conversion factors, right? So here's our denominator, right? Is always that second argument. And notice again, this first value is 1 because unit conversions are 1. And this is exactly what we just did in Excel just a little bit ago. So how do we use these to help us solve complex conversions, right? Well, let's look at this. If we have 6.3 pounds per square inch, this is called PSI, or pounds per square inch, and we want to convert that to newtons per square meter, also called pascals, right? How do we do that, right? Well, we know this is pounds per square inch, and we're 6.3. This is our pound force per inches squared, right? Inch times inch is squared. We can multiply it times a conversion factor of 4.44822 newtons per pound force. This allows us to cross off our pound force units, and we can then multiply it times a conversion factor, unit conversion factor for inch to meters, right? But we want to have it squared, so we need to square that entire value in order to eliminate that squared part. So here's our pound force go off, and our inches go off only because this squared term is squared and this conversion factor, right? So that's very tricky, and you need to make sure that that happens. Okay, so here's our value for 6.3 pounds per square inch is equal to 43,000 essentially newtons per meters squared. Okay, and these conversion factors are very important for us in in engineering. We're always converting from one unit system to another. It's a very common thing, and Excel, and be able to use Excel like this is very handy. Let's take a look at this if we do this now in Excel instead of by hand. What I typically like to do with problems like this is, if I'm using Excel, because it gets a little more complex and I don't always remember what my convert function is and how to use it, I will write out the problem like this. If I do that, and I don't always have to put in the values, but I'll kind of take a look at it. If I do that, it helps me write my formula. So here is my formula in Excel. One thing I want to point out that I typically will do is this B5 that you're seeing. I'm using it as a cell here. I have that B5 right here times, and I make this then a 1. Then I'm using conversion factors for both. So if I look at this, this is my first one here. In my denominator, always is the second argument. In my denominator is always my second argument. If you don't write this out, there is a high probability you will get this term wrong. The other thing to note is this squared, right? This squared, I have to square this conversion factor. Okay? So let's take a look at that. Let's do this. Okay, here we go. So again, I would write out what we have here, right, and how we want to do this conversion. So we essentially have 6.3 lbf pound force per inch squared. I'm going to multiply it times a conversion factor. My first conversion factor is I need to get rid of my pound force. So I want my pound force in the denominator and my newtons in the numerator. This allows me to cancel off my pound force, right? Now I need another conversion factor, and that's this one over here. I need to do my inches squared. Those need to be in the numerator, and in the denominator I want my meters squared, right? Or this is really the whole combined thing. So let's take a look and write this out. So now I have my inches squared will cancel out. My inches squared cancels out. Oh, I don't know, my pen's not working now. There we go, inches squared cancels out. There we go. So let's look at this. Again, this will be my first one, and this will be my second conversion factor. I'm going to go to this cell here, and I'm going to type equals, and I'm going to select that cell. So this is my 6.3, and I'm going to multiply it times my convert function. And if I look at my convert function, I have my number is 1. I want a unit conversion factor. And if I look at my first one here, I want my newtons in the numerator, which is my last argument. My pound force is the denominator is my second argument. So this is my LBF. And then my newtons is second. Okay. And then I'm going to multiply that times convert again, not converty, and it's a 1. And I want my denominator, which is meters, and my numerator is inch. I can just select it. Now if I hit enter, you'll see I get this value, right? And if I look this up on, you can always check your answers by using Google, there's always the nice Google Convert, and I have 6.3, right? Well, that answer is not the same. And what we showed before on the other slide is not the same. So I did something wrong. What did I do wrong? I purposely did it. I didn't square this last term, so I need to square my last term. So use the caret above the 6, and I square it. And now you see I have the same value in my convert. Okay, that's the same. So you can check your answers using the Google Convert. It's very handy to use. Okay, so there's our result there. Let's look at some other complex ones. These are good to do. Here's 2 more to do. So let's look at the first one. The first one says I have 95, and it really doesn't matter what that is, grams per centimeter times second. Well, this is going to take a little bit more to do, and I want to get pound mass. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply it times something that gets rid of my grams. So I want that in the denominator, and I want pound mass in the numerator. Now I'm going to multiply that and get rid of the centimeters. I don't want the centimeters in the denominator, so I'm going to put the centimeters in the numerator, right? So that will cancel off. In the denominator, I want feet. All right. Now I need another conversion factor for the seconds. I want to get rid of the seconds. And in the denominator, I need hours. So there I have 1, 2, 3, 4 conversion factors, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 conversion factors that I'm going to use. Okay. So let's type this up. Let's put this in and see if we can get this to work. Okay. So we will have equals. I'm going to use this again separately, like this, and type convert. And it's always 1, comma, and it's always my denominator. So if I look at my pink one over there, my denominator says I have grams. All right, so I'm going to pick grams. And I'm going to pound mass. So there's my first conversion. Multiply that times convert. 1, comma, again. And this time I have in my denominator feet. And my numerator then is centimeters. It has that prefix to it. Oh, and then one more, convert. This is the third one, the last orange one on there, 1, comma, and I'm going from SEC, seconds, to hours. And if I hit enter, oops, that very well could be it. Let's increase our number of decimal places. There we go. It's just very small. That's all. So there's our answer there for this. Okay. All right, let's try this next one. Notice I didn't have to square anything or anything in that one, but let's look at the second one on here. This will be our last example for today. If I take and look at this, I have again this 35 5 kilograms. It's a small k, kilograms per centimeter squared. I'm going to multiply it times a conversion factor. I want to get rid of my kilograms, right? First, let's just do that one, kilograms in the denominator, right? So those cancel off. And I want pound force, LBF, in the numerator, okay? And then the last part is I got to change centimeters squared to inches squared. So let's do that. This will be the green one, right? We will have, I want to get rid of the centimeters. So I want my centimeters in the numerator and my inches in the denominator. And I have to square this value to get rid of the centimeters squared. So let's use this. So here we have our three, actually only two terms this time, right? We only have this conversion factor and that conversion factor. And let's do this. Let's find out what that is. So we're going to start out with equals again. We're going to pick this cell and multiply it times convert and 1 comma, and we have, if we look at our pink one, our denominator is first, right? So kilograms. And we're going to pound force, or pound mass, I'm sorry, it should be pound mass. If it said pound force, it really should be pound mass, because grams are mass. And we'll multiply that times another convert, and this time we will use 1 again, and we need centimeters. Actually, we want inches. It's in the denominator, right? It's in the denominator, and if we look in the denominator, we type in IN, comma, and then our numerator is CM. And again, that needs to be squared, so the shift 6, 2. All right, very good. I'm going to change this. This is actually wrong. This should be pound mass. Okay. So that's how you do it. So this shows us the first conversion factor. If we check our work again, the second unit is, what's that about? The second unit is the kilograms. The third argument is pound mass. I should have had pound mass there. Let's draw that in there right this time. Let's change that. Right, this should have been mass, right? And then we have, for the last conversion factor, we have in the denominator inches and the numerator centimeters. So we did do that correctly. Okay, so I highly recommend writing this out. You'll get it right every time. If you don't do that, many times people will get goofed up on this last term and get that wrong. Okay, so I hope this helps you with the convert homework. If you have questions, please contact me and see me anytime. Have a great day.